Hey, welcome everybody. Good to see you. I don't know who's going to show up. I haven't been live in a year, and I thought I would go live because the reMarakable 2 has this new subscription model out. And Voya did a great video. By the way, go over to my deep guide and check out Voya's video. He did a pretty quick video on this too. And I just literally put a video up on why you should buy the reMarakable 2 over the iPad mini just now. And then the news broke. It's going crazy all over Facebook and everything that the reMarakable 2 is going to start charging a subscription. And I thought we'd talk about that a little bit and see if we had a few people join us today. If you want to go ahead and put a comment in where you're at, that would be fantastic. I see we've got some people joining us. Again, welcome, JB here. Glad you're with us. We're going to have a little discussion on the reMarakable 2 and the new subscription model and what's going on with that. You can put a comment in. I think I'll see it over here to the right. Hey, everyone, I'm going to put that in there and see. Yeah, I can see it. So, oh, Newcastle. Hey, in Europe. Great to see you, Jeff. Hey, man, long time no see. Good to see you. So if anybody wants to jump in, just say a comment. That'd be great. So the big news of the day is that reMarakable 2 has a subscription model. And I kind of want to talk about why I think that is. And I'll repeat it a couple times as new people come on. But I believe they are working on the reMarakable 3. And if we do the math of their current market, there's 30,000 people in Facebook, right? So let's say over the years they've sold 30,000 units at $400 each. That's about $20 million. So we're not talking about a very big valuation. Hey, from Germany. Whoa, good to see you. Good to see you. I don't see they don't have a big valuation. I think that's what we got to talk about. And again, go see Voya. Voya did his opinion on it. I thought it was fantastic. But I'm going to tell you the business case. So I think what's going on is they've got to get money together. Now, if you say they sold 30,000 units, let's give or take, let's say they're a $20, $30 million company. My last company 16 years ago, before I broke into consulting, we were doing about $18 million. We had about 35 people working for us. That's not a big valuation. Hey, from Spain, good to see you. That's not a big valuation. And I think what's going on is they're trying to get some Poland, good to see you. They're trying to get some money together so that they can build their company, right? And there's not going to be too many banks that are going to fund a $20 million hardware company in the e-ink device. There's not many venture capitalists that are going to jump in here and build this. Hey, Bill, good to see you. Going to put a lot of money into this, right? So I think what you're seeing is a strategic play by them for new users, not old users, as Voya said, to try to get a subscription base. Because what you're talking about, the valuation of a company with subscription is much higher than the valuation of, hey, Chris, much higher than the valuation of a company that is just creating hardware and selling off-piece units, right? So I think what you're seeing is the market is shifting and they're trying to get into this mode with, iPads and the big players. And in order to get with the big players, you understand that Apple's model is a subscription-based model. Yes, they have hardware, but where they make their money is subscription. Even Adobe, which is a big company that does Photoshop and those, they have gone to more of a subscription-based model. And we're going to, a lot of people are. And again, big reasons for that is because of the valuation of the company, trying to get money together to build that, maybe color reMarakable 3 or do something else. For the consumer, does that make the consumer happy? Obviously, from what we're seeing, most people are very upset that they're moving to a subscription model, even though those people aren't directly impacted because they're not going backwards. This is just for new people that buy the reMarakable 2. But I think what you're seeing with this is they're trying to get their market cap higher so that they can have another revenue stream, so they can go get money, so they can, get new equipment, invest in more marketing, grow the company. And I think that's what you're seeing. I'd like to know your thoughts in the comments on what do you think? Again, I think the general consensus on Facebook are people are looking at this as a cash grab. Like, okay, they kind of did some discussions about this. I mean, Voya did a video about this a year ago when somebody found it in the terms and conditions, right? So this has been a rumor for a long time, but now we are here today, present day, and we've got this now subscription model out there that is causing some issues. with with people. But I think what's going on is I think it's a major play to increase their revenue and again increase the value of the company so they can get funding. Even let's be conservative. Let's say they're selling 20,000 units a year. Let's say 30,000 because there's 30,000 people on Facebook. So we know they've sold at least 30,000. At $400 a pop, that's $20 million. I know in our, like when we're just thinking as an individual, that seems like a lot of money. But when we're talking about a global company, that's a very small company. And to put it into respect, like I said, 15 years ago, the last company I left that I was running was 18 million. We were an aerospace hose shop, right? And there was no way that we were going to get a bank to come and throw a ton of money at us to really build to become bigger without doing some things differently. And I think you can get your valuation so much higher when you start to add the subscription revenue because that's consistent revenue that's going to come in. That's what's going on. Woj says, I'm happy as an early adopter and having this subscription for free, but wonder who will consider buying the RM2 now. Either device should sell cheaper, but with a subscription or with a higher price without it. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think the thing that I have seen is a lot of the people that are buying the reMarakable 2. In fact, I just got a call from a lawyer here locally who is wondering what devices to buy. Typically are business owners. And I think there's a lot of business people buying it. Now, students, it's a little more challenging for. I think the problem is like our Australian friends and people in different areas where they're already paying a lot of money extra. It could be a pretty big bill for them. But, $8 here, $5 here can make a big deal for the company from a subscription standard. But I don't know if it will retard sales that much for somebody new coming into the game. I think obviously for all of us that are a little spoiled with what we've gotten, I think it's an issue. I don't know, if you would go to a books device over the reMarakable 2 because of this. You may go to an iPad mini. I just did 2 videos on that, on the iPad mini versus the reMarakable 2. But I still think there's a place for it. It's just some of the stuff they did was kind of weird, like the Google integration stuff they're charging for that, the handwriting, some of the stuff that people wanted is a big part of it. It's always been a small niche company. The TAM has always been small. Yeah. And I think, Gary, that's part of the problem, right? And even the e-ink market itself is a smaller market. So I don't know. I can't speak for reMarakable. They're a very quiet company. I don't know what their future plans are. Like, I mean, I don't know what they're trying to expand. Are they trying to go into more of an iPad-ish type deal? People have wanted different type of things. Are they looking to manufacture their own color device? That all takes a lot of money, right? And so if you have 10,000 people on subscription at $8, an investor is going to look at that and go, okay, we were willing to throw some cash at you. That's all I can think, unless, they're just doing it as an additional revenue stream, which a company can do. And they're saying these services are costing us money, so we're going to pass that on to the consumer. But again, reMarakable has always been a really unusual company for sure in the way that they do things. I think a lot of this could have been headed off, I think, with Voya, who I love to death, by the way, at My Deep Guide. If you don't get a chance, go watch his video. He just put one up. Voya really is big about transparent communication. And me and him have shared a lot of the same views when it comes to the re-ink stone and some of these slurry DSS Kickstarter things that are going on, that why can't you just get it out there and let us know what's going on? And I think if you study any type of psychology, if you study like waiting in line at a bank, for example, they have done a lot of research that if you go in at line in the bank and you cut in front of somebody, they get angry. But if you just give them any stupid reason, like my dog's in the car, or I'm in a hurry because I got a lunch break, the compliance issue, people will say, okay, go ahead. But if you just cut in front of somebody with no communication, people get angry. And I think that's what you're seeing here is even though the old user base, and they've got a great, tremendous user base, is not frustrated, is getting it for free, they're still frustrated in the way that it was kind of deceptively put out there. And I think that is a problem. Oh, Gary, they are VC funded. Great. I'm getting some great conversation here. Thank you guys for the comments, please. It's quite difficult basically to explain the additional value that the customer needs to pay, especially that the device is quite expensive and the customer service. I would agree to that. I would agree to that. And I think that's the battle they're going to have to come. Hey, hello from Hong Kong, Raymond. Appreciate you being here. Gary, they are VC funded. Okay, well, that makes a lot of sense, right? So the VC is looking at valuation. I think that's what we got to look at as consumers. I know it doesn't affect us, but we got to look at it that venture capital is looking to get money out of it. They're probably looking at an exit at some point, or to sell the company. And again, we're talking about valuation. So if you have a huge subscription base, even not even a huge one, it's still going to help you increase your valuation. That's the big thing. So I think that's what's going on. No VC is interested in such a small revenues. So that means they need a 10x current revenue. That's what I'm saying, Gary. Because we're looking again. I'm just trying to do math on this, and I'm saying they've sold 30,000 units this year at $400. Let's just give or take $30 million, right? I mean, let's say 30, $40 million is what they've done in revenue. You take out their employment costs, development costs, and everything. You're talking about $3 or $4 million profit, if that, right? So in the big picture of things, there's no money here. There is no money, and I think they're seeing that, and they're saying, "Well, we've got to change the model." And I bet they're getting pressure from their VC. And Gary's saying they are VC funded. So I think that is what's going on. Or, they could 10 times current revenue or 10x valuation. You could 10x valuation with a big subscription amount, right? And so I think that's the play here. And it's interesting because, maybe their VCs, they're going, we need the next iteration. We got to take the next step up because everybody's moving, right? I think color is going to be the next big thing in the next couple of years. And I mean, if they're still stuck here and somebody's got a really awesome color ink device for $400, $500, they're going to be in trouble, right? So I think that's where we're at. And I agree. I think, Gary, build a huge user base. And then what you do is, bring the subscriptions in, get 20, 30% of the user base in subscription. And then you've got that model working. And really, that's what most major big tech companies are moving towards, is a subscription model. So again, I think the regular consumer is a little upset at this. And that's what we're talking about. We're all regular consumers. I'm a regular consumer. Would I buy the cloud package? I don't have a problem with it. But as Voya said, I think the kind of the cloud of communication has always been a problem with reMarakable too, especially with delivery. I can't complain. It helped build my channel, helped me meet some cool people like you guys, but it did really hurt the way that their branding is. And I think they're still so small that it can't hurt it overall. I mean, they have a couple people complaining in a $1 billion world economy. I'm talking actually trillions of dollars, but billions of people, you can still function in that. And I think that's what they're trying to do. I think they're trying to mature, and they're trying to mature to the next level. Gary made a great point that Tesla did the same. So there's an old adage that Ford used to say, that Ford said, if you would have sold the people what they wanted, they would have wanted a faster horse, right? Before they came out with the car. And I think that's the issue. If people want new color, better devices, stronger customer support, I think part of the problem you have at a $20, $30 million a year company, you just can't do it. Like I said, the last small company that I was involved in 15, 16 years ago, we were at about 18 million. We had 4 customer service people. So if you think about the volume of that around the world, they don't have the support to do it. They don't have the revenue to do it. And a VC, venture capital, for those of you that aren't into the banking side of things, they're not going to keep pumping money into this thing, right? They're just not when you're generating $5 million annually. They're looking hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. And so that's the big thing. Christopher says, I have no problem paying for good service, but why should I pay for sending emails to myself? I think that's a good point. I mean, obviously they're trying to move as many people over to subscription, and that's the issue, right? It's the new world of the subscription model. Gary seems that free cellular and supercharging, not free for later adopters. Seems smart to me. I think, and I think that's what they've done. I think as Gary says, they got a venture capitalist behind them, which I didn't know that. I thought it was a family-owned firm. They've got some bankers behind them. Bankers only want one thing. When you're a VC and you're investing in a company, you want a return on investment. There's absolutely no other reason there. You aren't there for the product. You're not there for the customer. You're not there to get excited about it. You have put money into this and you're looking for a return. And typically, like we said, like even a 10x return, you want some money back. And so they're probably screaming, when are we going to launch a subscription model? And as Gary said, maybe this was the initial plan the whole time. If we look back when Voya did his video a year and a half ago, there was this in the terms and conditions. So it was there. And so as they rolled out the reMarakable 1, they got some leverage, got going. I bet when they did the reMarakable 2 is when the VC came in. They had this game plan that they were going to bring subscription at some point. need to build a big enough base. And now all new users will go on this, and they've got some momentum, money, and some cash to really make it happen. The issue we have is technology is moving so fast. And if they don't get something with color, or they don't have the reMarakable 3, I don't know how long the reMarakable 2 itself is going to really bring in the amount of users that they're going to need to build a substantial subscription base. I know Books is doing some things with color. We have the slurry DES stuff. Nobody has that. That's probably not going to be that great, but it's a very unusual market at this time. And I don't know how long the reMarakable 2 can handle or hold on with the customer service issues that they have. Now, I love the device. I've always been very open about that. And in even today's video, I'm using my iPads more, but I do love the device. I think it's the way they made it is very artistic. I think it is a great device. I think most people would tell you that it is a good device. What are their downfalls? Communication and customer service. Will that hurt them long term? Well, not if they get enough money together. If they can get a higher valuation, get some more money, pump out some new products, I think they're going to be doing pretty good. Okay, so there you go. Hey, guys, good to see you guys. Another from Germany is coming in too. Okay, so Gary says, getting some great information from Gary. Gary, thank you. The VCs came in near the end of 2019. So this really is making sense then, right? So we had an initial product that was kind of a niche little Kickstarter reMarakable 1 product, came out. They built it up pretty good. A lot of marketing. Remember, it was a good product. It worked. And then the reMarakable 2, hype central. I mean, it was crazy how much was going on with reMarakable 2. That obviously was when the VCs came in. VCs were pumping reMarakable 2, and I guarantee this was part of the initial plan. And they had 15 million in Series A. So that makes sense. So we're looking at 15 million in Series A. They want, 50 million back at a minimum. Think about that. They're doing 20 million, 25 million a year is where we're probably at in annual revenue, $5 million profit. That is no money. And the only thing that I can think is, they build it up bigger and then they go to subscription model. And then there's going to be some form of exit at that point, and they're going to move to another company or somewhere else. So that's what's going on, guys. And I just want to share that because I understand it's frustrating and it's like, what is going on? And like Christopher said, sending emails to ourselves, we have to pay money for. That's, it doesn't make sense, or does it not? I mean, this is the way the world works today. This is crazy. So yeah, I was saying 50 million. Gary comes back and says, no way they want $1 billion. I would agree with that. No way these guys are coming in to play this game for even that little amount of money. I think it's all about valuation. That's the key. Isn't this a problem of the VC not understanding this still niche market and a product and try to make profit? VC expect is simply impossible. That's a great question. I mean, I've always said that I think the overall e-ink market is a very small market. That's why you don't see, if it was a huge market, let's just talk this. If it was a huge market, think about this. Amazon would be making this device. It was why wouldn't Amazon just make this device? I mean, they would just copy it, reverse engineer it, and make it. I don't know if there's $1 billion valuation in the entire market. And I think you're right that I think that is a problem, is that maybe the VCs are looking at this as a technical market and they're trying to get that valuation based on a subscriber base on a niche product, which I think you could do if you can get enough subscribers behind it. And again, the exit is what they would be looking for more than the actual valuation. I think if they could get a big enough subscriber base, then they would be looking to dump this to an Apple or maybe an Amazon or to a bigger company. And that might be the play. That, Gary, I think maybe if we're on the same page there, may be the play. If they could get a big enough subscriber base, sell enough units, then I think maybe an Amazon maybe come in with $1 billion if they had enough people. That might be what they're looking at. But yeah, no, Gary, I appreciate you jumping in and talking about it because it's something that's interesting me. Why would they even do this, right? So it's pretty crazy. I saw this for those of us who got the free Connect. Your free plan includes all launch features such as Google Drive, Dropbox integration, and screen share features not included from free. Yeah, Paul, it's pretty crazy. As I looked at it, Voya really went off on it. But when we looked at what you get, they really stripped everything out and they are forcing any new user into their connection plan. I mean, that's what they're doing. And again, as we've been talking about, I think it's the VC connection here that's forcing that because they're looking for their valuation. If it stayed a small family-owned niche company, I don't think you'd be seeing this. I don't think you'd be seeing the play to subscription. But and again, I think to Woj's point, and I hope you don't mind me saying Woj, I cut everybody's names off. It's easier for me. But if it was a huge market and it was gigantic, Amazon would be in here capturing market share like crazy. I know they have their e-ink devices, but they've never, they've built one big one, but they've never really went at this market. So we have to assume maybe the market itself is only 100 million. What is books doing? Books is doing another 40, 50 million. Papers doing another 10, 20 million. I don't know. This market may be not big enough to do what they're doing. If they go to subscription module, the machine has to be redesigned. I can't see how the subscription is valuable to me. I would agree. I mean, I think some people are going to look at it and go, it's not valuable, but they may be looking at more enterprise solutions. One of the companies I do have a good relationship is Quirk Logic. They're a really great company. They sent me the Quilla down. That's what they focus on. They don't look at the end consumer, even though there are some people using their paper devices and there's some big news coming from them, but they're looking more enterprise. So maybe they're looking more of an enterprise type of thing and they're moving away from the individual consumer, though their marketing was never about that. Their marketing was always about paper replacement, paper replacement, paper replacement. Yeah, Gary, thank you. Hey, hello. And people complain about iOS devices are locked up the App Store only. You have to pay $7 a month to email yourself with the reMarakable. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I worked at Amazon, head of Kindle, saw my RM, said no interest, doctor. Oh, well, that's good. You see, Gary, that's at that time. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think there's any money, Gary. And that's awesome to know you were. Thank you for that again, for pointing that out. I think that's part of the problem. If there was some big bucks, maybe we would have had that. Wow, great insider information. Thank you. I feel sorry for the reMarakable original team, as a VC cooperation might be their doom. Hopefully, not as we all feel this as a great device. It's pretty crazy. I think the good thing about the reMarakable too, anybody watching this probably owns one, right? And it's kind of like a big family. It's gone through delivery delays. I remember doing the videos, they couldn't get the deliveries out. The communication hasn't been that great, but I think there's a group of us that really love the device for what it is. It got me an ink. I mean, now I have super notes and paper devices. I mean, if it wasn't for the reMarakable 2, I would not even be here today. So I have a good place in my heart for it. I hope they succeed. I really do, but I don't know. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with this future launch. I think what they're doing is they're testing it and trying the model, trying to bring new people in. I mean, they've kind of committed to it, right? They launched it today. Anybody that buys the device after tonight doesn't get these features. So that's what's going to happen. Oh, we got a great question on the Sony upcoming DPT-2. It is out. I am under an NDA from specific companies to discuss any future things. Obviously, if we get talking about future Sony products, which they provide to third-party companies, then what happens is people stop buying the products that they have already. So I am not allowed to speak to that. Hopefully soon I'll be able to talk about the new Sonys and some of the companies, excuse me, that are going to be bringing those to the table. And I want to be very cautious of that because of the relationships that I have with some of the manufacturers. I don't want to breach that. And I hope you appreciate that. I know that's not a great answer, but I'm not at liberty to discuss. There are a few companies that are actually working with Sony, and I'm not at liberty to discuss what is happening with that. Well, I'm so glad I canceled my pre-order last year and I went with a Super Note instead. I appreciate Radis transparency and roadmap even more today. Sheila, you know what's crazy? I am charging my Neo's back there in case anybody's looking. He's crashed out. I'm charging my Super Note today, and I haven't used it a lot. And in full transparency, the reason I haven't used my Super Note is because I'm using my reMarakable and my paper device more and more. And I said, you know what? I'm going to start using the Super Note more. I do like the fact that you don't have to change the nibs, and you have, the screen to me feels okay. I think it's a good company. I just don't know that much about it, and I really haven't given it the chance that it needs, even though I've done a few videos on it. I'm going to try to do more, just as I'm using the iPads more and more today and the iPad minis. I'm really excited about the new Kobo announcements, the Kobo Sage. I am really excited to get that because I love my Kobo Forma, and that one is really exciting to me. Some other good points coming in. My point was that only launch features are included for us free, so we might even have to pay in the future for future features. That is what stinks. Oh, yeah, that's a good point, Paul. You know what? I bet that's going to be true. Yeah, I have a feeling they're going to try to move everybody's subscription, right? So they're going to come out with some new feature, and force you to join Connect. That's just an assumption that it's an assumption, and about assumptions aren't great, but I would assume that's true. They haven't communicated well on anything else, so we don't know, but I would assume they're going to try to move everybody to subscription. I would assume. I think the RM team is the most customer service. I have two Onyx devices. They're for different uses. I would agree. I would agree that the Onyx are, I have a bunch of them. The only Onyx that I often suggest to people is the Lumi, because it is a big device for technical work. I'm not a big Onyx fan. Of course, I'm not a big Android fan, so that's part of my problem. In fact, on my website, as you know, I got that quiz to kind of help people. And the reMarakable 2 fits a lot of people's profiles when they come on, which is simple and easy to use. The Supernote's kind of in the middle because it adds a couple different features. It's just the problem with these devices is people can't test them. And I think that's one of the biggest issues we have, is that people can't test these devices. And so it makes it a little bit tough in deciding what they do. Gary, I think Kobo is doing a big nudge. And part of the reason is they have that, I think it's overdrive, I believe, where you can get books from the library. And that's kind of a cool feature that you can plug into your local library. It kind of pays for its own device instead of buying all the books. As an author, that's disturbing because I like my books to be bought. But you know what? It is a nice device for consumers, and I think it works out real well. Yeah, Gary has the Lumi. Yeah, the Lumi is definitely the device that I would suggest for anybody right now looking for a technical reader or any big reader. I think it's the best on the market. Again, I'm not at liberty to discuss, but there are some challengers coming. But I do think the Onyx Books Lumi is a fantastic device, especially for students, medical students, lawyers. It takes a little bit of time setting it up. But if you're looking for a reader of big devices, I don't think you can go wrong there. That's the one I would suggest. And I think it's a good product. I can't believe how lucky I am. I ordered mine yesterday. Joe, wow, you hit the lottery. You ordered, you don't have to pay that subscription. It is kind of crazy, again, that, obviously this is something they really can't announce because they would have spiked orders yesterday, right? So it's just a weird thing. And I think we've come to the conclusion with the assumption it's being VC driven, market valuation. That's what's going on. They're trying to get their market valuation up. Probably the VC wants to get their money out of this company. The company may be screaming that they want to do color or something else and they need more money, and they're not going to do that without some form of additional revenue. And that's what we're looking at. I ordered mine last month. Don't have it yet, though. And that's part of the issue with these devices, right? Some people don't even get them forever. And we've got them. I just connected. What's the best alternative for note taking now? To the reMarakable 2. Robert, hey, great to have you. There's a lot of good ones out there. We brought up the books, products, the Note Air. A lot of people like that. If you like a lot of different functionality, you can watch my channel Revoyas and see a lot on this. Personally, probably the Super Note is one that a lot of people like. You don't have to change the nibs. It's got a nice pin to it, works real well. And then of course the iPad with a paper-like protector on it. I'm using the iPad mini right now with the pencil and this paper-like kind of feel on it. And I actually enjoy it. I like it. So you've got some options out there, right? Those are the main ones that I would think. And the Kobo Sage just came out, which is a smaller device. I'm anxious to see that. I wasn't real happy with their Ellipsa that came out. I actually ordered one and sent it back. The case, the way it worked, there was just something off about it. But, those are the ones that you'd want to look at. And again, the bigger devices, I think from Onyx are their sweet spot, like the Lumi. The Note Air is good, but I've got a test on my site. It's at morningcoach.com. You can take a quiz. It's about your thinking style that'll help guide you to a specific device. But if you're looking for something else, and you're very minimalistic, like clean design, maybe the Super Note, which is more like the reMarakable 1. And that's here. This is a Super Note. It's a little more like the reMarakable 1, the A5X. Still a good device. Don't have to change nibs. I do think they have the best stylus in the business, but you're getting more of a reMarakable 1 look instead of obviously the reMarakable 2 who's here. So that's just something to think about as you're shopping a little bit for these devices. I wish everybody could try them, and that's part of the problem with these things. And he says, I didn't get mine, Les, but I might return because of this. Is bad, really bad. I get it. Also get Kindle on it. Yeah, and you get Kindle on it too. That's the other thing. Super Note. Great point, David. David said, the other thing you would get with this device is it is running Android, and you do get Kindle on it. which is another great thing. The Books devices like the Books Note Air, a lot of people like Books Lumi. You can put a lot of different things on it. The problem is like OneNote and some of those apps are not going to work well because they're not designed for this market. But thank you for asking that. I really do. I wonder if GitHub magicians will now increase their efforts to take as much possible from the software. That's a good point. The one thing we have always known is that the reMarakable 2 is hackable. I haven't hacked mine, but a lot of people do. And that's going to be an interesting play with the subscription. Where does that fit in and people hacking that? That is a great point. I like my Supernote with the basic stylus, Brian says. By the way, we got a great community. Thank you guys for the comments and the thumbs up. It helps me with the algorithm. I'm trying to do a better job of putting videos out. It's this YouTube thing is so challenging. And I just try to share energy, do some coaching, all my stuff. I'm trying to have fun with it. And it's a challenge. And also I want to support Voya, by the way, over at My Deep Guide. Great guy. We become friends because of this e-ink stuff. And he does all the really deep tech reviews. So if you want to find out the real technical stuff, Voya's got hour-long videos. They should pay him to do the manuals because he's so good. I just can't go a day without, sending people over there also. And he has his opinions on this that are pretty aggressive. And I tend to agree. Voya is very consumer-centric. And he's going, man, this is not right. So you can go ahead and take a look at that. But Seamless Sync is not free from anyone, is it? Once you have more than 2 gigabytes, you need to pay. I would assume that. Books Note Air seems good. Yeah, Books Note Air is good if you like a little more complex devices. It just takes a little while to get set up. It works. A lot of people love it, but it takes a while to get set up. It's going to give you a lot of functionality. It's not going to give you the minimalistic feel, the reMarakable or Supernote, and you're just going to have a lot going on there. That can be good and bad. I find myself moving away from the Books devices just for their complexity. I personally would rather have an iPad. That's me. Again, except for the Lumi. I think the Lumi is a fantastic device, big reader. It works real well. I would be remiss without talking about Quirk Logic Paper too. It is the device that I use every day. I got it in the office because I was using it over there. The Paper is another one to look at. It's a big device. It's on the older technology of the Sony. That's the only problem. It's a little bit older technology, but the software is great. Thank you for asking that. You should sponsor him. That's so funny. DDBK is the best. You should sponsor him. Dropbox over 2 gigabytes is not free. ARM is the Apple of this space. I would agree. That's what they're trying to be. Is Gary pointed out, they are trying to be the Apple of the e-ink space. They're really quiet in their communication. If you look at everything they do, they're very Apple-esque. Constrained supply, right? We never have enough. They subscription model. They do have quality products, very minimalistic. So that's what I would say. I mean, I think Gary called it out. It is reMarakable 2 is playing Apple here. That's what they're doing. Sheila says the biggest seller for me on the Supernote that not many people talk about is the ability to reference your notes back with the titles. Haven't seen that in any other e-ink device. Thank you, Sheila. So Sheila's saying you can reference back to the titles. There's some searchability in the Supernote that does have some interesting software capabilities that you should look at, which is pretty cool. Paul wrote, not yet, but right now, that you mentioned, it's funny. Quirk Logic, I say. Quirk Logic is the company, Gary. Quirk Logic is a company out of Canada. Quirk Logic, really interesting company. They build Aquila, which is a huge device. Again, it's in my studio. Huge, biggest e-ink device. They actually manufacture that. Came to the table last year. I did it. Somebody told me to go check it out. I went and bought one. It was on the Sony DPT framework. And I liked it. It was sluggish at the beginning, but they have engineers that literally watch this channel all the time. They contact me. They let me know what's going on. They got some really cool things coming up. Great company, pretty cool device. I use it every day for notes, day to day. And I think the thing that they have going for them over anybody is their online software and shareability because of the Aquila, which is really cool. So you can do real-time collaboration. And that's the big hit with the Quirk Logic, is their ability to do real-time collaboration. So when I'm at a mastermind meeting and I do those, I can actually have people working together on a device. I can be up at the screen at my Aquila, and they can be working on we do what's called the Ascension model on their business, and they can be drawing maps and stuff, and it's showing up on my big screen, which is really cool. And people can save that, which is really cool thing. So that's kind of a cool company. I love them a lot, and Quirk Logic is the best. A really cool company, by the way. Best customer service. Good for notes, but even better when I want to reference my note. Sheila said on the super note, just to put that out there. Gary says my Calgary office. Sheila, interesting. It seems interesting. I need to see Voya's reviews of the device and Voya Morning Coach are absolute points of reference. Hey, thanks, Robert, for that. I appreciate you. And again, like I said, sometimes you get the real use, kind of just my opinion. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, right? But with Voya, you're always going to get that deep teardown. And he does such a good job over there, which is great. Yeah, it's Gary, great educational technology over at Quirk Logic. Well, just want to jump on here and do a quick video today. Hey, it's been a while. It's great to see everybody. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. I always say it's a community more than a channel. It really is. We have super smart people that dialogue. Sheila, thank you. Woj, thank you. Gary, everybody, Robert, everybody again, Paul, putting good information, Brian, sharing information. That's what this is about, this channel. And I'm going to try to do a better job to keep bringing you great energy and great ideas here on the channel. So I'm going to go. I got a 4 o'clock golf or 5 o'clock. I got to be at the golf course in about a half an hour. So I'm going to head out. But thank you, everybody, so much. A little bit into in-depth discussion on the reMarakable 2. Go have a great one. And thank you so much, everybody. Have a fantastic evening for those of you overseas, and afternoons for those of you here. And on the West Coast, heck, it's lunch over there. So have a great one, everybody. Thank you so much.